The first two episodes of Star Wars Ahsoka have been released, and as expected, it is terrible. Unfortunately for the Knights, the movement to avenge Star Wars is being challenged by a bunch of Filoni faithful and Star Wars NPCs. They're buying into the hype. Everything in Disney Star Wars is terrible. Dave will lead us to glory with his orange lightsaber. If you want Disney Star Wars to succeed in any way, you are a sequel-loving fake fan Rayboy. You can claim to enjoy this show, but it's not fixing all the other disasters. Luke is a failure and drank titty milk. Palpatine was brought back to life only to be destroyed by Rey in comical fashion. The expanded universe has still been retconned. Filoni picking pieces of it to plagiarize only makes it worse. There are two timelines, fake Star Wars and real Star Wars. Disney Star Wars is fake Star Wars. The George Lucas 6 movies and the expanded universe is the real Star Wars. I'm a fan of real Star Wars, and I will not let shit-ass Dave Filoni get in the way of avenging Star Wars. I made a couple reviews and triggered fake fans, but we need to dive deeper. Here is my breakdown for episodes 1 and 2 of non-canon Ahsoka. We start with an opening crawl. One major thing to note, it says Ahsoka Tano is a former Jedi Knight. Ahsoka was a former Padawan who left the Jedi Order. I don't think there's any shame in saying former Padawan, but Filoni went with Jedi Knight, which is a lie, and maybe it's in there to dumb down the story for casuals. Another possibility is she decided to embrace being a Jedi since Star Wars Rebels, but also in that time denounced being a Jedi. If that's the case, what was Ahsoka doing the past 9 years? How did she get off Malachor? Why didn't she aid Luke Skywalker in taking down the Empire? This is something that Filoni and the retards at Disney need to fill us in on. But surely I'm just overthinking it. Filoni used Jedi instead of Padawan because he's an Ahsoka-loving simp that doesn't care about canon. They say Filoni's the savior of Star Wars. I'm not letting him off the hook for anything. Especially considering this asshole was questioning the knighthood of Luke Skywalker a few months ago.
However, Luke trained, and then Yoda didn't confirm that he was a Jedi. Remember, he says, "Oh, you think you're a Jedi? You're not so fast."
But then he also said,
when
you're gone, you'll be the last. You'll be the last Jedi.
When I'm gone.
I'm gone.
So it's interesting. It's like,
but we've seen a few more pop.
Oh, he's very loose with Ahsoka. She's a Jedi Knight, but not Luke. Not Return of the Jedi, not when Yoda specifically told him he would be if he confronted Vader, which he did. I'm surprised he missed that, because clearly he watches enough real Star Wars to rip it off frequently. What is he, Emperor Palpatine now?
You no longer need those.
Ripped off the hallway scene from Rogue One. This is literally a copy of the scene from Rogue One. The first scene is completely retarded. Baylan Skoll wants to board the ship to steal the prisoner Morgan Elsbeth. They use an old Jedi code. They know it's an old code. It's very sus. To make it worse, he invites the supposed Jedi on the ship, wants to call their bluff.
I'm calling their bluff.
He could have told them to fuck off while they sort this out. But no, he wanted to run his mouth to them face to face.
You put on a good show, but I don't buy it.
It's okay, the security team is behind him. They got taken out with ease. This guy should be old and wise enough to know how skilled Jedi can be. Basically, it took a total retard to get the plot moving in Dave Filoni's masterpiece. The show that is going to save Star Wars and fix Rey Skywalker. Another Filoni plagiarism.
Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see his identification.
Get RD3 to scan these imposters for identification.
Allow me to show you our identification.
Morgan tells Baylan about Ahsoka and how she's after the map to Thrawn.
First, after The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, the whole race to find a map to find a missing character is just well-worn territory.
I agree with Star Wars Explained. A map to find a character has been overused. Dave Filoni is very unoriginal. Baylan is another Order 66 survivor. It's insanity at this point. Everyone survived Order 66. That takes us to Ahsoka. She rips off the deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith. I know Ahsoka used this move before, but that was ripped off then as well. Dave Filoni proceeds to plagiarize the Fifth Element with Ahsoka trying to gain access to the Thrawn map. This takes up several minutes. We know very little about how she got to this location. Why does she even know about this map? She got Morgan to tell her where it is. But how does she know that there's some sort of map or quest that she needs to go on? The details on this are all very vague. She just heard whispers of Thrawn, and now she's asking questions. But don't worry, the Star Wars NPCs and the Filoni faithful don't care at all. When she actually gets the map, which is a Pokeball, there is no gratification for the audience. In our mind, from what we saw, she did very little work to earn this prize. Unlike the Fifth Element, when they were doing this was very tense and exciting. The camera angles, the acting, this was very boring. This sets up her first fight with some droids. Baylan Skoll sent them to retrieve the map from Ahsoka.
And that was a fun little fight. A little bit Looney Tunes cutting out the floor from beneath them, but I enjoyed it.
This battle was garbage. Then Filoni proceeds to rip off Independence Day.
The droids self-destruct, blowing up the temple with, I guess, the nukes they keep in their chest.
Two things from this. Why didn't Baylan Skoll go himself with his apprentice and the other Inquisitor? 3-on-1. I like the odds. And 2, the droids self-destruct. What if Ahsoka got caught in the fire? Wouldn't the map be destroyed? That would destroy the entire plot in the first episode. I really don't think Filoni thought this through. He just wanted a cool Independence Day explosion. Hera briefs Ahsoka on the two Sith, Filoni Dark Jedi, and Ahsoka has no idea who they are. We don't know anything about Shin, she's young, but from the trailer we know Baylan Skoll knew Anakin and is around the same age. How does Ahsoka not recognize Baylan Skoll? What was he doing the entire time Ahsoka was training to be a Jedi? Maybe I could accept Baylan was doing something in the Clone Wars. He was away from the temple the entire time Ahsoka was there, training as a youngling and Padawan. But given Disney's track record, given Disney's history of releasing terrible shows, I want to know the details. Maybe we'll get them. We'll see. The thing is, when you have so many people survive Order 66, it creates problems. And until I get those details on why Ahsoka does not know Baylan Skoll, I'm not buying it. Filoni can eat my ass. While all this is going on, it conveniently lines up with the 9-year anniversary of Ezra's sacrifice to get rid of Thrawn. Wow, how convenient. They need to celebrate to let the casuals know who Ezra is. It's really just a waste of screen time. The casuals, the Star Wars NPCs, will just like anything you make. More wasted screen time with Sabine being a rebel, listening to some Star Wars Filoni rock, pulling a stunt on her motorcycle. This entire scene could have been deleted. It's not necessary. Sabine enters her apartment. Immediately, we see Disney's new merchandising. Throughout the first 2 episodes, this cat was really in your face. It wasn't just in the background. They deliberately made Sabine and Ahsoka stop and admire the cat. This is something Disney frequently does. Every episode of Mando Season 3 had Grogu doing cute stuff. Disney shoves their merchandising down your throat because they lack the creativity to entertain you and produce real Star Wars. The bad guys get to the temple. Morgan just assumes the map wasn't vaporized, and orders Shin to go to Lothal to find Ahsoka's former apprentice Sabine Wren. Why don't they just all go to Lothal? What's their plan, to kidnap her and force Ahsoka, who has the map, to try to rescue her? Sabine is a former Padawan. She might be a formidable opponent. I realize Baylan Skoll's confident in his apprentice, but what happens when Ahsoka shows up looking for Sabine? As talented as Shin is she really up to the level of Ahsoka? Based on how the characters have conducted themselves on screen, I don't think so. So why is Shin going alone while the other two tag team Morgan Elsbeth? I don't know. And I'm just speculating on what the plan is. Baylan really didn't say anything more. He says a few things and lets her leave.
You're looking for Sabine Wren.
I know the plan magically works out for them because Sabine is a bitch and steals the map, and she's unqualified to be a Jedi Padawan, and she's easily taken out by Shin. But what is the actual plan? Before Sabine steals the map, it's revealed that she was Ahsoka's former apprentice. But according to Rebels, she's not Force sensitive. They don't reveal why Ahsoka decided to train her, why she decided to ditch her. So whether you watch Rebels or not, you're confused and it's stupid. Shin is tracking down Sabine. More plagiarism. Filoni rips off Darth Maul from The Phantom Menace. Since Sabine is so great, she's able to figure out how to open the map. The droids find her.
Judo chop! Judo trip!
Does a judo trip and escapes. The map is stolen. Sabine confronts them. She ignites her lightsaber. She thinks she's a badass. But then Shin ignites hers. And Sabine is surprised. She screwed up. It would have been convenient had Ahsoka told her that Filoni Dark Jedi with orange lightsabers were also after this map. Then maybe Sabine wouldn't have stole it. Maybe Ahsoka should have had enough common sense to run after Sabine and get the map. Oh, but for plot, Ahsoka is only rushing to get there now. She could have left earlier, but no! She needed to talk to Hera for some reason. Gotta give Hera screen time. Finally, Shin stabs her, and not only does Sabine not die, she's still swiping on her way to the ground. She's one strong whammon. Ahsoka's arriving, and Shin looks a little terrified, potentially very outmatched. And again, I'm wondering what Baylan Skoll's plan was. It's not a very good one. It happened to work out. Shin escapes before Ahsoka arrives, but just barely. She arrives a couple minutes earlier, she's probably dead. Shin alone was not going to be able to take this map from the both of them. Only because of the plot armor, Filoni's able to push this terrible story forward. I know Sabine is a strong whammon. She has a battle history, trained with Kanan a little. Ahsoka, she's a Mandalorian, but she's not Force sensitive. She's not wearing armor, doesn't have her jetpack. She's just matching skills with someone who is far more Force sensitive and someone who hasn't been sitting on their ass, masturbating in Ezra's apartment, thinking about Ezra plowing her for the past 5 years. Sabine should have been cut down immediately. The choreography was bad, the music was lame, she gets stabbed, and everyone is just laughing at this point. The audience knew she'd be okay. Where's the suspense? It's unbelievable Filoni, the savior of Star Wars, would pull a Reva in his own episode, the very one he directed. The second episode, Ahsoka returns to Sabine's place because she thinks one of the droids might be lurking there, and she's right. She kills it, takes it back to Sabine, where Sabine is fully healed from being Reva'd, and hacks it. Turns out the droid is from Corellia. This leads Ahsoka there to investigate. The failed master and apprentice relationship is brought up again. It's just incredibly stupid. Half the episode, Ahsoka and Sabine complain about it.
I have known many Padawans over the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all.
And it's confirmed, Sabine is not Force sensitive. She has no potential, but I foreshadow that that's not going to mean anything. She's going to just do great things because she's awesome. She's just a strong whammon. Ahsoka tracks down the droid, gets in a fight with an Inquisitor, and we get more plagiarism from Dave Filoni. And somehow Ahsoka's not dead here. You know, like, this looks a lot like The Last Jedi with Luke Skywalker, but there wasn't him there. He was force projected. I don't know why this didn't kill her. He does it again here with Hera.
We got him, R2.
Good work, Chop. You got him.
Next, we get to the most important scene in the first 2 episodes, the empowering haircut. I just want to grow my hair out super long. It would probably take a few years, and then just get in the mirror and be like, hey there, I'm gonna just cut my hair and it's gonna be all female and empowering, and then I'm gonna go out and take out Filoni Dark Jedi with orange lightsabers and just be like, for females everywhere. Hera and Chopper are able to put a tracking device in the transport, and so then Ahsoka and Sabine are gonna follow it, and that should take us into the next episode. This is supposed to be a very important part of the show. This line was so cringe.
Take us out, Padawan.
Sabine gives Ahsoka a retarded-looking face, followed by some cheesy music. Sabine being accepted back as a Padawan was so undeserved. It's very common with Disney Star Wars, characters being losers for years, then magically getting what they want with little effort. What did she do the entire time? She was a total bitch, and Ahsoka dropped her as an apprentice, and then she laid around in Ezra's apartment and masturbated for years, and then when Ahsoka comes back with this map to Thrawn and they could possibly find Ezra, defies her orders and steals it, and because of that, Baylan Skoll's terrible plan was able to work out, and they were able to steal the map, and that creates a whole bunch of problems. She loses the lightsaber duel, not only because she lacks force sensitivity, she hasn't been practicing for years. But because she cut her hair and had that empowering haircut, she is now allowed to be a Padawan. What exactly did she do that earned this? Oh wow, she fixed and hacked the droid while she was recovering from being Reva'd. Okay, yeah. That's gonna negate everything else that she did that was bad. Disney Star Wars also needs to make every character depressed and quitters. Ahsoka is not the same Ahsoka you saw in the Clone Wars Rebels. She's more mature. I get it, but as for entertainment goes, her character is boring. She's so dry. She's so monotone, always walking around with her arms crossed. There's been no emotion from her in the first 2 episodes. It makes me question the actress Rosario Dawson. I also question Dave Filoni, who is a complete imbecile. But I don't think she's the worst. The absolute worst character of this show, worst part of this show, is Sabine. Sabine is even more unlikable than she was in Rebels. All her scenes are useless and a waste of time. Ditching out in the ceremony, the motorcycle Filoni Star Wars rock scene, being depressed and feeding the merchandising. They spent all this time developing an off-screen master and apprenticeship with Ahsoka that completely missed. At the end of episode 2, they come full circle and are just back together. If you think about it, they really didn't need this whole Sabine arc. If they wanted to go the apprentice route, why not just have her start off as Ahsoka's apprentice? You could have focused on developing other stuff in the story. Maybe make a better plot for the show. She could have still fought Shin and lost, and she definitely didn't need to be Reva'd, and we'd still be at the same part of the show we are now. Dave Filoni is straight up garbage. The early reviews said it all. Slow burn, sloppy writing, cheesy dialogue, cartoonish, bad fight choreography, no casuals, Rebels fans only. These 2 episodes were just packed with member berries, ripping off scenes from George Lucas' Star Wars, and now we got people pushing Star Killer again. Star Killer is going to be in this show! They say the same thing in every show. Star Killer is going to show up, you guys. It's definitely happening. There's an Easter egg. The Ahsoka show is not going anywhere. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen with this show right now. Sabine, a character no one likes, no one respects, is going to be tagging along with Ahsoka on their quest to find Thrawn and Ezra. Sabine is not force sensitive, but she cut her hair and is now out for vengeance. And she will get vengeance by defeating at least 2 out of the 3 Filoni Dark Jedi. How does she do it? She's just great. The Force and midichlorian count will be undermined once again. Filoni is a fan of Rey. I quote Dave Filoni, she just picked up that lightsaber and took him out, and I'm all for it, and she looks strong. The Anakin episode everyone is tuning into that Disney desperately put out in their last trailer is probably in episode 5. The next one Filoni directs, the leaked Mustafar flashback scene. It is either going to be incredibly bad or completely fail to meet your expectations. Baylan Skoll will probably die, Shin, another strong whammon, she might join Rey's new Jedi Order in the future. Ezra will probably be in the show at the end, then there will probably be a big reveal that is not impressive at all. I have no faith in the direction of Dave Filoni. He is a certified Rey-loving Disney boy. He is not the savior of Star Wars. Even if you like this show, it can't repair the damage that's already been done to the Disney Star Wars timeline. And as far as I'm concerned, none of it is canon. The real Star Wars is the George Lucas 6 films and the expanded universe. I'm growing stronger in the dark side every day, but I need more Knights. Become a Knight, subscribe to the channel, join the Knights of Melvin Discord, help plot to take down Disney and all their shills.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.